Niners made it. First, though, we want to express our takeaways from this game yesterday against Dallas. Larry, what was your major takeaway from this win? Impressive win, concerning win? What do you think?
I just think any win that you get in the playoffs, take them any way they come. And whatever way it comes easiest is the best way to do it. I would say it was a good win. Why? Because there wasn't, like I heard Kyle today at the presser talking about the injuries. They got the win. They didn't lose any bodies. They didn't lose any talented players. And they didn't turn it over. It wasn't perfect. They clearly don't. They're not getting enough push up front. They're not blocking well enough on the line of scrimmage on offense. I think there's still some issues, but overall, I think a very good win. And for Brock Purdy, I thought Brock Purdy was really, really good. Now, most of his yards came in the middle of the field. Now, a lot of people will be somewhat critical of Brock Purdy, but the fact of the matter is, he didn't turn it over, and he really. There was a great stat today from Jeff Deeney, who said he was under pressure on 48.5% of the dropbacks, most of any 49er quarterbacks dating back to 2020. And he didn't turn the ball over once. But when he was kept clean in the pocket, Purdy yesterday was 15 of 17 for 159 yards. That's close to 90% completion percentage. So, the fact of the matter is it would have been a really easy game for him to turn it over. He was somewhat fortunate again in that the Cowboys dropped a key pick. But I thought overall the kid played with incredible poise.
Yeah, that's true. And yet the Niners offense scored only 19 points, which is interesting. So the question is why? And I'm with you. It wasn't that Brock Purdy played poorly. I thought he played really well. I gave him a B+ for the game, which is impressive considering they only scored 19 points. I'll go back and look at that first half. The Niners can't do that again against Philly. What they did in the first half was not Brock Purdy's fault. I'm telling you, like in Good Will Hunting. Hey, son, it's not your fault. No. Look at me. It's not your fault. Where was the damn run game? That's not Brock Purdy's responsibility. I'm looking at the numbers right here for the first half. 11 carries, 27 yards. What the hell was that, Kyle? I mean, all week we're talking about how Dallas can't stop the run and the Niners are just going to impose their will on Dallas. That didn't happen in the first half. 19 passes, 11 runs. There was no real attempt to impose their will. I don't really know what the Niners' identity is right now on offense, but they found it in the second half, and that played the way they should have been playing all along. They need to do that for an entire 60 minutes this upcoming week. Otherwise, they're not going to win, and it's going to be Kyle's fault, not Brock's.
Well, and Dan Quinn, I thought, credit Quinn. Obviously, he knows Shanahan. He knows Shanahan's scheme. I thought he had some incredibly well-timed run blitzes. It seemed like he either had an uncanny ability to guess right, or he's reading Kyle's mail. But I thought there were a number of really good defensive calls from Dallas where they were sending extra guys exactly where the run was intended to go.
I also felt that the kind of runs that Kyle Shanahan was calling were like a little too cute. You have like Deebo Samuel in the back in the gun. You hand it to him on a shot on a sweep to the left, and he loses 4 yards. It's like whoa, Kyle, you're better than the Eagles. Than the Cowboys. Can you just line up in 21 personnel and and run the ball? Can you give the ball to Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason and impose your will? Why are you trying to like outflank this team to the edges? It's a really fast flowing defense, as we saw with Dallas. They were faster than the Niners offense. Can't you push them around? Their defensive tackles are like 280 pounds. And they did in the second half. But I feel like ever since they've gotten Christian McCaffrey, Kyle's kind of gotten a little like obsessed with using McCaffrey. I don't know why. He's a great player, maybe justifying the trade. But McCaffrey changes the identity of the offense. It used to be a physical, impose your will, run first team. Now, they don't really get to that until maybe like midway through the second quarter, third quarter, and it almost burned them against Dallas.
Now, I'm not sure. I mean, the last game against Seattle, McCaffrey got 40 snaps and Mitchell had 14 snaps. It was more even in this game. Mitchell actually had 14 carries to McCaffrey's 10. McCaffrey had 16 touches, I think, to Mitchell's 14. It might have been that more Mitchell oriented because McCaffrey may have been dinged up at the end of this game. And so that could have been why we saw a lot of Mitchell. But personally, I like using Mitchell to finish games, and I think you saw why. I mean, he's got great pick and slide. He's got great instincts. He falls forward. He doesn't fumble. He can take huge hits without fumbling. So I like the usage of Elijah Mitchell. But yeah, that doesn't answer the question of why could the Niners not get the run game going, and they haven't had the run game going really for a number of weeks now. I mean,
No.
they haven't really got it going. What was the last team they actually just ran at will over?
I can't. It's been
Arizona,
a while. I
maybe?
can't really think. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like when we were thinking. Right. And when we were previewing this game against Dallas, I think a lot of people were dismissive of Dallas. And they said, well, Dallas can't stop the run. So, yeah, you can't even compete with the 49ers if you can't stop the run. Well, they did stop the run until they essentially ran out of gas because they've been playing on the road for so long. But that's concerning. If a defense that's not statistically good at stopping the run can make a couple of schematic changes and stop the Niners' run game, what does that mean about this week against Philly? Because, again, they're vulnerable against the run. They have a great pass rush, 70 sacks. If the Niners come out pass first, one-dimensional, you're setting Brock Purdy up for failure. You got to help him out, Kyle, because he saved your ass yesterday. He kept this offense afloat while he was under pressure, under siege in the first half. You gave him no help. And finally, you figured out in the second half, that's not going to work against Philly. It won't. So I'd like to see, again, this was an interesting offensive performance. I don't knock Brock Purdy for it. I mean, he's not Patrick Mahomes yet, but he's doing a great job. He's managing the game, not turning it over, and creating a few plays as well. Kyle, dude, you're the run game guy. Come on.
I have a bigger problem with punting from the 38 in the first half to pick up 18 yards.
18 yards.
Going for it on a 4th and 9. Now, I realize it's 4th and 9, but how many times in the last month have the 49ers had an offensive play that accounted for more than 9 yards? A bunch. So you've got all these weapons, you've got all this money invested in McCaffrey and Kittle and Debo, and you're going to potentially, I realize the goal was to pin them inside their 20, pin them inside the 5 if you can. But ultimately, you gave up a chance. I didn't mind it yesterday against Dallas, though I didn't love it because I think Dallas has offensive, high-powered offensive capability. But let's get real going forward here. They can't get that conservative against offenses as explosive as
they were playing for field goals, Larry. They were playing for field goals.
I know. And it's more out of design than out of just like, hey, this is the way the game went. It was like, hey, you know what? Go for it on 4th and 9 there. I'll say this. They got away with it in this game, but the Eagles have the kind of offense, and so does Kansas City, and so does Cincinnati, where if you get into a game and you get too conservative, either throwing away two or more possessions in a 10-possession game, expect to get run over in the fourth quarter again.
So you're right. They were extremely conservative. I'm going to give Kyle the benefit of the doubt and say that his game plan was, let's just let Dak lose the game. Yep. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was like, you know what? Let's not lose it on offense. Brock, don't turn the ball over. I don't know. And Dak will Dak. Dak will Dak it up, and he did. That game plan will not work this week. I mean, the Philly, at least what they've been this year, is a team that doesn't beat itself. Dallas beat itself, and the Niners allowed them to, enabled them to their credit. But that's not going to get it done this week. The Niners have to go into Philly and take it from them. And they're going to have to play great on offense, defense, and special teams. And I can't remember the last time the Niners did that. It was the Tampa game, Miami game, month and a half ago. They can do it, but Philly did it last week. I just watched that game again. Holy shit. 28-0 fast. I mean, come on. They
look great. They look great.
The Niners can't afford to have this little whatever they called that in the first half against Dallas. Can't do that anymore. Can't do that. You got to come out ready to go.
Well, and I think you're right in that Dallas. The Niners put a cleaner game than Dallas. Dallas was -1 in the turnovers, and you could have banked on it. And look at the Niners won the time of possession, and Dallas had more than twice as many penalties. Philly's a little bit more buttoned up, and you're right. They're not going to give that to you. And This game also is going to have another complication in that you're going to have to be able to stop what you couldn't stop in Atlanta, and that is the zone read run game.
Yeah.
Philly gets a lot done on first and second down, and they get into third and short, and then they've got the run pass option of Hurts, and it's just and all these weapons, and it's and an awesome line, and there's like too many ways they can beat you. So the key in this game for sure for the 49ers is get something done on first and second down, both offensively and defensively, but especially defensively. Put Philly in third and long. The Niners, I don't know if you saw this, they flashed this on the TV copy. The 49ers are like one of the best teams in football on third and long defensively, and they're one of the worst teams in the NFL on third and short. Yeah. They've never replaced DJ Jones. They're not good in short yardage. So it's really essential they stay out of it, especially against a team like Philly, because Hurts is going to, and Miles Sanders and his other backs, they're going to hold that mesh point for 3 seconds. They're going to force you to decide what you want to do and commit, and then they're just going to react, and it's going to be really difficult to stop. So you got to get them into third and longs, and they're not going to beat themselves. So you can't bank on them just having penalties and mistakes.
Chris Telerico says, I'm tired of seeing him run 23 up the middle. Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I hate the halfback toss. I thought that was a giveaway too.
Yeah.
I'd like to see McCaffrey touch the ball more in the receiving game and outside the tackle box.
Did McCaffrey get injured in the last quarter? And when did that happen?
Well, he takes so many hits. I thought it could have happened on any number of about 6 different runs.
I think that he's going to play, but I don't think he's going to be 100%. And, gets the way it goes. Go Cyclones, says Steve. Iowa State in the house. Yep. Ominous24 says, Kyle can deflect about it, but I bet my life the players told Kyle what to call in the second half, like Drew said. Is that true? Did Drew say that the players asked Kyle to run the ball more in the second half? Is that true?
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that either. I would love to find that
afterwards, and I read a bunch of stuff on the game. I didn't see him quoted saying that.
You know who else looked great? Dallas versus Bucks. Gizmo Maltese. Thank you. Jordan Matthews says Philly hasn't really been challenged in a while. Beat a vanilla Giants team, basically 2 bye weeks. If Niners come out swinging, they have a shot.